It's Hair of the Dog right here on your classic metal show with I Can't Fight You. I know that's a favorite of Demon in the chat room. And Hair of the Dog, what a great band they used to be. And who was it that told me that Ryan Cook is out there playing with, who is he playing with?
Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons.
Yeah, I think it was me that told you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah, he's out there playing guitar with Gene.
Oh, good for him. Glad to see he's still in the music business. Real nice guys. I got to know them pretty well. I had them on the show several times. Did CD giveaways for a couple of their CDs. I saw them at least a half a dozen times and got to know those guys pretty well. I saw them open up for Motorhead at the Agora.
Sure.
And I saw them open for Cinderella. And yeah, they were just a great band. I just sad that they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no one cared except you.
Yeah, I guess so.
I loved them though. I thought all the records were good, and I loved the tune on the first record called Monster.
Yeah.
It's like late in the record, but it's just got a nasty riff in it, man. It's so good.
Yep. But those guys were good dudes, and glad to see Ryan Cook is still out there, doing something.
Yeah, and isn't the drummer Dupke also?
Yeah.
He's playing with somebody too.
Well, he was in Wasp for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's still in Wasp or not, but he was playing in Wasp a long time. He actually started out as a percussionist for John Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Just when he was real young, and then he got into Hair of the Dog, and then he ended up in Wasp.
He's playing with Dee Snider now.
Oh, very good.
So he stays active.
Glad to see that those guys are still out there working, whether they're working together or not.
I wish he could find a way to actually put that band back together. That band was good.
Absolutely.
But there were a lot of those bands, man, that came up in that era and just never went anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
you remember Brand New Sin?
Yeah, Brand New Sin was a good one. We had them on the show several times.
I fucking loved that band. And they did like 6 or 7 records, so they really, really tried.
Yeah, they were very Zakk Wylde-ish.
Yeah, and it just didn't happen for that band for some reason.
The other one that was one and done that I just absolutely loved their record was that New American Shame.
Oh yeah, they didn't go anywhere.
Oh my God, that record was just phenomenal though. I promoted them, did CD giveaways on the show. Hung out with them. They opened up for Megadeth at the Akron Civic.
Right.
And they were just a great bunch of guys, but they were a one and done.
Yeah, couldn't give their record away. I mean, they just did not sell. And I never understood why, because that record, especially when there was that big hole in the Guns N' Roses sound, and they sort of fit that bill.
Yeah, they were kind of like a cross between LA Guns and AC/DC.
Yeah, they just seemed like they should have had a good run, I guess, because grunge was all the way in at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were fucking good, New American Shame.
But I love that. I love that CD.
Yeah, but there's a ton of those bands, dude, that have had, and some are still together and still making music, but just never totally exploded. Hellfueled, we talked about them last week. Fucking great band. 3-4 good records never happened for them. Fireball Ministry, that fucking Second Great Awakening record, that's as good as a record gets.
Yeah, that's as good as any Black Sabbath record.
Yeah, and didn't sell dick.
Well, another band that, they did get a little bit of traction, but they certainly didn't blow up, was another Black Sabbath sound-alike, was that Wolfmother.
Yeah, Wolfmother, I mean, they had a little bit more success. I mean, they did have some radio run, but yeah, they didn't do it either, man. There's so many, especially from that era, that time frame, that just made really good music, and it just, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. You remember Orange Goblin?
Yeah.
Orange Goblin had like 10 records, and none of them ever hit.
Yeah.
And they're fucking, to listen to that, every time I ever play that for somebody, if I'm just playing it in the car or something, they're like, that's fucking awesome, man. Who's that? And I'll say, Orange Goblin. Who?
Yeah.
Nobody fucking knows who it is. Good stuff, though.
All right. For those of you who are looking for salvation,
yes,
this is something we've covered on the show, but it's slowly making its way here to the States.
Okay.
The mayor and others push back on a proposed robot brothel in Houston, Texas. A so-called robot brothel, a Canadian company said it wants to open in Houston, is getting pushback from local officials and community groups, with the mayor saying the city is reviewing its ordinances to determine if they address public safety and health issues raised by the business.
Why do they care?
Mayor Sylvester Turner said he's not trying to be the moral police, but this is not the type of business he wants opening in his city.
Does he have strip clubs in Houston?
I don't know the answer.
Yes, you do. The answer is yes. There are strip clubs in Houston, Texas. Are you kidding me? So stop it. What is the problem here?
Well, because they just want to know how they're going to clean up the jizz.
Well, dude, I mean, come on. Are you going to tell me that they suspect in Houston, Texas that there's not jerk booths?
The nudie boots.
Dude, and those are, you ever go in a jerk booth? Did you ever go into one of those?
I have not been in one, no.
It's fucking disgusting.
I'm sure it is.
You go in and there's like a piece of glass and some chick comes in and fucking rolls around, sticks her fingers in her pussy and shit. But you just look at the glass and the glass just, it looks like somebody threw a goddamn glazed donut at it and it just kind of dripped its way off the fucking wall.
Yeah, their jizz moppers are not doing it.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. The 7, 8, 9 times I've been, I was horrified.
You were horrified.
I was horrified.
And offended.
Every time, that's the only reason I went back, was to see if they cleaned it up each time.
Yeah, just to see if you would be horrified.
Yeah.
Again and again and again.
What is the weirdest thing that you've ever seen in any kind of a club like that? Have you ever seen anything weird, or just regular old strip clubs?
Yeah, just regular strip clubs. I've never been to any one of these clubs that do some weird shit, donkey shows and shit like that. Nothing like that,
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing I ever saw was in Korea. They had this strip club, and I used to go to this club all the fucking time because it was a dank club. It was a really dirty, dank club. But the thing was, you could almost always, they had like 5 strippers and like 5 customers, and basically everybody was fucking a stripper that night. It was just one of those clubs, where if you went, you pretty much guaranteed you could get some pussy if you wanted it. So, but the thing about the thing was, you would sit in a chair, and the stage was like eye level, I guess.
Okay.
But it was these big glass blocks, and what it was the stage was like a giant fish tank.
Okay.
And they had these big fucking fish in the tent, and I'm talking big fish, not
big koi.
Bigger than that, like big ocean fish.
Really, that big, huh?
Well, it was a big stage.
Okay.
And they had these big, like little, like mini sharks and shit in this fucking thing, and big giant fish, and you'd be watching the stripper, and then this fish would kind of swim up on you because you were not 2 feet away from the glass, kind of looking up as she brought her pussy to you. So you'd be looking up, and next thing you know, you're being stared at by a fucking big old fish or some shit. It was the weirdest fucking club, and I never understood what the fish had to do with anything.
Well, maybe it was a scratch and sniff type thing.
Exactly.
The fish would swim up, she'd show you her pussy, then you'd get a whiff.
Or maybe they just knew that their strippers stunk, and they were just kind of like, well,
we blame it on the fish. It's like blaming your farts on the dog.
Right,
the dog farted over there. No, the fish is the one the fish is what smells.
Exactly.
It's not our strippers. It's that fish that just swam up to the glass.
Yeah, that's what you smell.
Yeah,
that rotting shark. Too good, man. But yeah, that was like the weirdest fucking club, and I went there a ton of times.
I'm sure you did.
I did. Dude, anything weird I'm into, you know that.
Of course.
So, I think the audience knows that. There's no secrets here. I'm a fucking weirdo when it comes to sexual shit.
Right, of course. Getting back to the story, Mayor Sylvester Turner said he's not trying to be the moral police, but this is not the type of business he wants opening in the city. We do need to be very mindful of what comes into our city. The optimum word is comes into the city. Yeah. And what our children and others may be exposed to. What, you gotta let children in these inside these buildings?
Why would children be exposed to this? Children, you have strip clubs in your fucking town. The children are not exposed to them.
Right.
I mean, holy fuck, it is a sex business, for fuck's sake.
Well, this always goes back to that whole, what about the children? What about the children?
What about them?
Yeah.
Do you think the dad's not in his fucking room jerking off in between fucking mom? Even if he is fucking mom. First of all, is there any kid that grew up in a family, with a mother and father, that at some time didn't at least hear their mom being fucked by their dad?
It's hard. Yeah, I'm sure that has happened. Yes.
I think everybody, if you look deep into your soul, you'll realize there was a time that you heard weird noises coming out of mom's bedroom, and it was because dad was banging her in the ass or whatever. I mean, come on. That's going on in their home. You think they're going to be somehow offended because they drive by a fucking, rubber puss or whatever they call the place?
Kinky dolls.
Kinky sex dolls?
It just says kink. The whole word is, this is all one word. Kinky doll S. It's kinky doll S.
So it's not. Is it like Kinky's dolls?
It's kinky. I think you had it right. It's like kinky sex dolls.
Okay.
But without the word sex spelled out. So it's like kinky dolls.
Yeah, okay.
Announced last month on its Facebook page.
Of course they did.
That it plans to open a love doll brothel in Houston. Which, of course, we've read before that this is something that's going on over in Europe.
Right.
It would be the company's second location. The first location opened in 2017 in Toronto.
Okay.
The company didn't immediately return calls seeking comment. On its social media pages, Kinky Sex Dolls says it's human-like dolls which can speak and feel warm to the touch are available for sale or rent. Rent. I want to rent your doll.
Yeah, I'm going to rent some pussy. Well, that's kind of what you're doing anyway.
Yeah, they just call it rent a pussy.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what all of it is, isn't it?
City inspectors have visited the site of the proposed business and have ordered the owner to apply for a demolition permit after they noticed construction work had been done without the permit.
Oh,
It's like, you guys are building without a permit. You're going to have to take this all down.
Yeah. See, now, Kinky S Dolls, they bought the chicks with the fucking weird faces. Nice bodies, but the weird-faced ones.
Right.
They didn't go the whole mile.
Yeah, they didn't go for the premium dolls.
No, they went for the cheap shit.
Yeah, well, they were only interested in the pussy part, not the face.
Yeah, good point, because some of these have obnoxiously large tits.
Let's see here. The building inspector said her department has not been told when the business plans on opening. Turner said he's asking the city's legal and health departments to review all of the ordinances, including those related to sexually oriented businesses, to see if any of them will cover this type of business. Well, I doubt it, because this is kind of a new territory.
Yeah, it's never been done before.
Yeah.
What difference does it make? Are you going to tell me that Houston doesn't have hookers?
Well, here's the thing. What he's trying to do is he's trying to find some kind of a statute that's already established to say, well, the reason you can't open in our city is because our statute says blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I doubt there is one, because this is a fairly new concept.
if there's a store that sells pocket pussies, then this should be legal. Because ultimately, that's what this is. It's just a pussy that doesn't fit in your pocket.
Right.
But it's the same fucking thing.
Yeah, but you don't get to fuck it at the sex store.
Well, no, but
you get and you're going to share it, though. You're going to also share it with other clientele. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's not going to be an ordinance for this.
So, they buy a dishwasher. What's the fucking problem? Just fucking stuff her in the dishwasher.
The city may have to amend. Here we go. We don't have a current statute, so we're going to have to make one.
Yeah.
To stop you.
Mm-hmm.
The city may have to amend current ordinances to create a new one to limit and regulate these type of businesses.
Why do you need to? What are you regulating?
Well, you're probably, again, this is just an excuse. Yeah. Number one, it's, well, if we let you open a business here,
mm-hmm.
we have to collect some kind of profits off this or taxes from you.
Well, I don't imagine that this guy didn't think that he was going to pay tax on the fucking porta-pussy here.
Well, but that's the whole thing. It's just, well, the city's got to get something out of this.
Well, they would. They get the tax money.
No, well, what I'm saying is that
they need a kickback.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say, that they need to get something for this.
Right.
What do we get out of this? But they're going to do it under the guise of, well, there are health concerns here.
No, there's not.
Well,
I know that's what they're doing, but that's fucking bullshit. There's no health concerns here. There's less health concerns here than the guy that pulls up on the fucking corner in a dank neighborhood in Houston and buys a whore and gets his dick sucked in the alley.
Right.
It's a whole lot less health concern than that.
Right.
Like sticking his dick in fucking plastic and fucking a piece of fucking blow-up doll or whatever.
Right.
Jesus.
Well, I'm sure prostitution is not legal in Houston.
Doesn't matter if it's legal or not. It happens.
It does happen, but what I'm saying is this business would be a legal entity.
Yeah, like a strip club.
Yes, but there are bodily fluids involved with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So their concern or their reasoning for limiting the activity there is
mm-hmm.
by saying that because bodily fluids are involved here under a legal thing, we got to somehow regulate this.
That's ridiculous.
Hooker on the street is not regulated because that hooker could go to jail as well as the guy propositioning the hooker.
Yeah, but this is just ridiculous. Let these guys fuck a piece of plastic, for God's sakes. What difference does it fucking make? And I do love the name that Nathan in Kentucky called it, Jizzy Cheeses.
All right, there you go. Issues Houston officials are reviewing about the proposed robot brothel include whether it has to be located in a certain distance away from schools, daycare centers, and churches, like other sexually oriented businesses, and health concerns relate to any reuse and cleaning of the dolls, just like I said.
Yeah. I still think that the health concerns are less than actually fucking a chick you pick up at a bar.
Yeah, but again, that's not a legal thing, and that's not a money-making thing.
Oh, I'd say the bar is.
No, yeah, but you're missing my point.
No, I'm not. I'm just being a dick. I'm being purposeful in saying the reason people are going to that bar is to get some pussy. They're not going to the bar to
Yeah, but they're not running a business to sell the pussy.
Okay, depends on the bar you go to.
Yeah.
A strip club is.
Yeah, but you're in a normal strip club setting, they're not selling pussy there. They're selling just the visual.
Yeah, I get it.
Not that it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that they're not in the business of selling pussy.
My thing is get the fucking government out of the morality business. It's none of their fucking business if people want to gather and fuck. I honestly, if 10 men want to fuck the same goddamn sex doll, one after the next, that's their business. I don't need the government telling me that it's fucking wrong.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of saying it's wrong. I think it's a matter of trying to stave off an outbreak of some disease.
Well, I'm just not. I get the government out of this shit. Just get the government out of it.
So if somebody becomes a victim of, say, AIDS or a victim of, some kind of sexually transmitted disease,
then you sue this company.
Okay.
I mean, dude, if somebody becomes a victim of AIDS from fucking somebody else, what do you do?
Well, but the thing is, well, see, here's the thing is, and I get what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that from a standpoint of public health concerns, it's just like a lot of these people become the responsibility of the local taxpayers to pay for their health and their upkeep once they become afflicted.
I get it.
So
no, I agree. But you know what? As of today, there's been 0 cases of anybody getting AIDS from a fuck doll.
Oh, that you're aware of.
Well, that I'm aware of. And there's been millions of cases of people fucking people and getting AIDS, and nobody's making any laws to stop fucking each other.
That is true.
So then why make laws
but there are laws.
Plastic?
No. There are laws of people selling pussy, on the street.
Yeah, and I don't agree with those laws
Well,
either.
regardless if you agree with them or not, they are in place and they do exist.
I fully understand. And they shouldn't exist because, again, the government should not be in the fucking business of where you stick your dick. They shouldn't be. The government, look, what is it? And this is a round and round argument. It's, there's no difference between me spending $100 on dinner or just giving a chick $100. Both times I'm trying to get my dick sucked. Both times I'm trying to.
Well, I agree with you. Believe me, I get what you're saying. I'm just talking from a legal standpoint of I'm out here to purposely sling pussy for profit, or I'm dating some guy for a good dinner and a movie or a concert or whatever the case may be, and I might give him some at the end of the night voluntarily.
Here's the real problem, and I believe this to be true. The reason that they're fighting this so hard is because fucking putting this in play takes the power away from the fucking chick with the pussy.
Nah, I don't believe that.
I think so.
I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
No.
I think that women will have a huge
they might have a huge fit about it, but in my opinion, I think this is just a play on how do we regulate this and how do we get our cut out of this.
How do we fucking extort money?
Yeah, so if you're making $100 for a guy for banging a love doll, what percentage of that do we get?
Yeah, I hear that.
And how do you account for that, saying, well, we only collected 100 when you actually collected 150?
Yeah. You know what? Just tax it like every other sin tax. Throw an extra 50 cents on the dollar or whatever on it and be done with it already.
Exactly. But again, it's just regulating it so we get our piece of the pie, our figurative pie.
But stop with this whole, well, we have to see if this is what we want. Shut up. Shut up with that nonsense.
Well, if they don't do that, because like you said, you're going to get the outraged chicks saying, you're going to let these guys go in and fuck and make us not relevant anymore?
Yes. We're not allowed to even fucking ask you for fucking pussy anymore. So we need an alternative. That's really what it comes down to. If I ask you to suck my dick, somehow I'm fucking liable now for some goddamn legal problem. I'll never have that legal problem fucking a plastic chick. I won't. And John Bate, you're absolutely right. I am fully in support of fucking robots. Fully.
This is why I brought the story to the table.
I'm going to run the campaign. I'm Chris Aiken, and I support this message.
Oh, my God. That's hysterical.
Yep.
I'm not trying to be the moral police or anything like that, but I am charged with the health and safety of people within our city.
Yeah, sure.
Elijah Rising, a Houston-based nonprofit focused on ending sex trafficking, has started a change.org petition asking that the business be kept out of the city. We have seen the progression as sex buyers go from pornography to strip clubs to purchasing sex robot brothels, will ultimately harm men, their understanding of healthy sexuality, and increase the demand for prostitution and sexual exploitation of women and children.
Yeah, instead what they should do is go and start fucking somebody only to find out that they used to be a dude.
Well, that's funny you brought that up, because I got something to follow this story.
Oh, good. Good.
Annie McAdams, a Houston-based attorney who has represented sex trafficking victims, said she's concerned a robot brothel will further dehumanize sexual activity and objectify women.
No, it won't, because you know what? It'll de-objectify women because we won't want to deal with real ones. When we know that we can get our fucking nut and it feels like pussy and we don't have to hear it after, we don't have to cuddle you after, we can just fucking walk away from it without any fucking lip. Fuck yeah. It's going to put you into what, in the end, what this is doing is justifying what pussy has always been in the first place. And women just don't want to hear that that's really what it is. It's just like fucking entertainment. Pussy is nothing more than movie tickets. It's sitting for a fucking hour, getting your nut, and being happy.
Right.
That's it. It has nothing to do with our fucking love for you. It has nothing to do with what you mean to us as a person. Stop with this fucking horse shit goddamn Cinderella fucking wisdom that your goddamn dumb mother taught you. You fucking stupid whores. Your fucking value is that of a fucking $2,000 fucking fuck doll. I would be willing to give any woman $2,000 to let me fuck her whenever I want, and never fucking have to hear about it.
See, you're dehumanizing the sexual activity, just like
Yes.
this attorney said.
Yes, I am. You know why? Because the human aspect of it sucks. That's the part we all hate about it. The thing that we hate about fucking getting pussy is the chase and the after you get it. The only thing we like is that middle. That's the only thing think about it. Dude, in your life, forget about relationships just for a minute.
Okay.
Do you like the chase leading up to the first time you bang a chick? Do you like that?
I think the challenge part can be a little bit fun. Like it's almost like a exercise for your ability to see if you can score or not, whether you still have that prowess or not.
But isn't there some, and I'm asking, you could tell me no. Isn't there some part of you, somewhere in you, that would just like to have pussy without having to play any kind of a game?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course.
You know, and the only reason any of us get into I mean, you're never going to get married.
No.
You, as a guy, you're never going to get married.
No.
So, in the end, whether you're playing the game for your own benefit or you're playing the game to get that pussy, you still have to do extra work in order to get what you want.
Right.
Right? Now.
Well, I think Deep Purple said it best, is that the chase is better than the catch.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So it's marginally acceptable. Would you give me that? The leading up to the pussy?
Yes.
Is marginally acceptable.
Correct.
But if you didn't have to play that game, you probably wouldn't.
Yeah, most guys would not. That's correct.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, you get the pussy. Maybe get it twice. From that point on, after, the minute you fucking blow your nut, do you really want everything that comes after it?
Not really, no.
Not really. You don't want that fucking cuddle thing. You don't want that wake up in the morning thing. You don't want to hear about, she's starting to have feelings for you thing. Right?
Well, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I've been in relationships, and I've been in situations of friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. The friends with benefits has always been better.
Always better.
Always better.
So in the end, the lead up and the external is really just you're faking. You're not really serious about it. You're not serious about the humanization of getting laid. You're just about the getting laid.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, the friends with benefits situation in my experience has always been better.
Right. So what I'm offering back is, since you're not sold on that beginning part fully and you're not sold on that after part fully, then ultimately you don't need that, especially if there's an alternative option that's out there without that.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
And that's what these fuck dolls are. These fuck dolls are the friend with benefit. It's a non-talking friend with the ultimate benefit. It's already, my point is, it's already been dehumanized, because in the end, guys may not say it, but guys don't want the humanization of it. They just want the pussy.
Right.
That's it. So the humanization that this guy or this doctor or whatever's talking about is made up mumbo jumbo in the first fucking place. That's my point.
I get it.
And they're just trying to stall, like you said, because they got to extort.
Yeah, of course.
Stupid.
McAdams said she doesn't think the city will be able to keep the business from opening.
Good.
Any of the laws that currently apply to what we call sexually oriented businesses don't really apply to robots. Mm-hmm. They apply to human beings, she said.
Right.
Which is what I said. There's laws that govern prostitution.
Right.
But these are robots. These aren't people.
This is a pocket pussy with extra parts.
More or less.
That's all it is.
Houston has long had a culture that is resistant to regulation that remains the only major U.S. city without zoning. Turner said the city's lack of zoning has overall been a plus. We are very reluctant to place restrictions on how people use their property, and that's been something that we've carried with a great deal of pride, and certain people will take advantage of that. This is one of those cases. Mm-hmm. McAdams said she expects the Texas legislature to likely get involved on this issue during the next year's legislative session with possible proposals to ban such businesses. One thing Texas loves is to regulate is sex.
Dude, you know what I would love to have enough money to start with this? How much money could you make? Think about this for a minute. How much money could you make if you had a strip club where, for an extra fee, you could go in the back and fuck a fuck doll? So you could have the live strippers get you all fucking horned up, and then you could go into another room for another 100 and fuck the fuck doll.
Yeah.
After the chick
get your frustrations out, and then you can go home.
Dude, you would make a killing.
Of course you would.
Oh, that's the business there. Combine and conquer. That's a multi-million-dollar idea for the strip club. Love it.
Comment after the story?
Yeah.
Well, the doll will not come back years later to demand more money, and I sure feel they will cost much less than $130,000. So that's a good investment.
That's what I think. Yeah. You're never going to be sued for alimony from a fuck doll. Never. And really, if you earn the money, is the pussy really worth more than like $2,000?
Not at all.
That's what a girl should walk away with from a marriage. $2,000. Because that's what it was worth.
A robot brothel isn't that big of a deal. My first wife was a robot when it came to bedtime.
Fair enough.
My first thought, they could repurpose auto milking machines from the Canadian dairies. Some first thoughts are hard to forget.
I don't know that you want that kind of suction on your dick.
Too funny. So there you are.
They're going to do this, but you know that it's going to end up being something fucked up. People are going to modify these things or something with all their weird kinks, and don't you think? It'll end up with, some electronic part some electronic add-on that'll end up shocking somebody to death or something.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because there is a comment here.
Okay.
As far as the safety issues, I'd be more concerned with a runaway servo motor.
Yeah, I mean, there is that risk.
Yeah.
That's the same risk that you take. You've said it all the time about fucking sticking your dick in and it having AIDS. It's the same risk. It's just this might tear your dick off or something.
Right, of course. By nature, we are social creatures, and by nature, we also seek the most joy for the least effort. When traditional courtship takes too much effort and technology presents an alternative that takes less effort, ta-da! Doll brothels, and technology also separates us.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't fully agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Because in the end, if the girls didn't have the pussy, we would not have the desire to socialize.
Right.
We wouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. You said it before on the show that if we weren't interested in banging them, we would never even talk to them.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, we'll have casual conversation, but in the end, if there's no interest to bang them, then think about a work conversation. When you're at work, you'll talk to the women at your job, but if you don't find them hot, you'll never say, "Hey, what are you doing? Why don't you come out to lunch with us?"
It's true.
You have women that you've worked with at the various points in your life, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever invited one to lunch? Unless you wanted to bang them.
I would think that, I haven't been in a lot of situations where I would go out to lunch. Mm-hmm. But you're right that inviting one to go somewhere maybe after work or, cocktails or something.
Yeah.
It's because you found them kind of pleasing. Yeah.
Yeah. The only time that happens is when the whole office is going. If the whole office is going, then obviously the women will go too. But if there's like 2 or 3 friends in the office, there's never a time that you'll be like, "Hey, Donna, let's go to the fucking bar." That's never going to happen. Right?
True.
That's just not how it is. And that's not even fucking, because you dislike the girl or whatever. It's just because you don't have nothing in common. You're a guy. Yeah, in the end, you're guys, and guys don't have anything in common with chicks, except for that mutual fucking space in between each of their legs, meeting in fucking one.
True.
That's the only thing that we have in common. The mutual desire to fucking connect for fucking 20 minutes or whatever.
Right.
That's it.